So welcome back, everybody. We've got a really awesome episode because everybody's back, and it's Batman Day.
Wait, so what?
It's Batman Day today.
I don't know. It's like the second day of Rosh Hashanah. I don't know what Batman is. He Jewish?
Probably on one of the Earths. But yeah, it's like an annual celebration for the last 5 or 6 years. DC just like promotes the hell out of Batman in the state. Basically, it's not his birthday or anything.
They just decided like, September 19th sounds good enough.
It's not even the same day every year. They change it every year. Yeah.
They're like, when do we need to promote something? Make it Batman Day.
Yeah, it's pretty much. So my favorite day of the year, obviously.
Oh, okay.
How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Got had some barbecue today, which was great. So always good when you spend the day smoking a brisket. And now I get to talk with you guys. So it just keeps getting better.
You're back after a couple of absences. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, no, I definitely did not mean to be AWOL for so long, but we had the combination of I think, and Chris mentioned on the first one that I missed that we had the opportunity to stay some extra time when we were on vacation due to what's going on in the world and everything. The people who were renting the house the week after we were renting it canceled, so the homeowner came to us and was like, listen, we can't sell this second week, do you guys want it? And it was like a third of what the extra week would have cost normally. So we're like, well, of course. So we stayed some extra time and I said, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can figure it out, I can do this like on like a hot spot on the beach, a thing. You're like, no, go enjoy the vacation, we'll see you in a little bit. And then not to get too much into the muck or the weeds of my life, but we had a catastrophic event at work, and I was really in a rough spot for a number of weeks just dealing with that. And there was actually the show I was planning on being on with you guys, and it was 20 minutes to recording time, which we record fairly late in the evening. And I remember just texting you guys like, guys, I'm still at the office. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, take care of business. So yeah, it's been a little while, but thrilled to be back. Just chatting with you guys before recording here has been great, and yeah, just looking forward to getting back into the gaming swing a little bit.
Perfect. And a big thanks to Chris Roberts for stepping up last week when both of us couldn't make it and putting out a great episode. It was really fun for me to edit and listen to.
Chris is he is a delight. Listen to the other stuff that he does over the years, and I just knew we'd have a lot of fun bringing him on board.
Yeah, no, that was a great idea to fill the void with the other two of us gone.
It's I can handle it.
I mean, what was the alternative? Just a monologue about?
Trust me, yeah. Nobody wants to listen to just me drone on for like an hour and a half.
Could be our highest rated episode. We'll have to try it out.
I think, I don't know. Can we go down to 0 subscriptions?
Welcome back to Perspectives. It's 4:54 in the AM.
So, you guys been playing anything since the last couple weeks?
I will let Chris go first because I'm sure he's playing more than I am.
I don't know if I can give you a run for your money. I'm playing Remember How to Do an Auto Exec Bat and Config Sys.
Yeah, Chris doesn't play games anymore. He just fixes computers.
I have played a little bit, but no, I continued my work on the compact portables. So the compact portable one I got done. It had one of these terrible foam and foil keyboards on it, so I had to totally redo it. And I had to recap the power supply. I probably talked about some of that because one of the capacitors just blew on it since I tried to turn it on. But surprisingly and shockingly to me, once I finally got it back up and running again, the hard drives, like this old MFM 20 megabyte hard drive, still worked. And so it's all this stuff from work from 1988, 1989. And so I'm kind of combing through some of this weird stuff from those days. So I'm going to try to pull that stuff off there. Maybe, give it to a couple of the older folks at work and say, hey, if you want to go back and have some fun, here's your data from 89 or whatnot. I did this special software so they could make like a chart of like, some data, and it takes like forever to load what would be like one PowerPoint slide now, some very special software, but it was kind of funny. The Compact Portable 2, I've got that pretty much all done. The last piece was getting a RAM board in, and then I had bought a brand new, new old stock Microsoft serial mouse off
I saw
eBay.
that picture you said, yeah.
Takes you
like
back.
Minnie Mouse that everyone had,
Yeah.
with like that little ergo curve in it.
Yeah, it's got that little curve with the little hump on the back. And I will tell you, taking it out, and it's like, brand new, and taking something like that out again that's brand new from that time, you're just like, whoa. Yeah. And it feels great. It works wonderfully. And
I forgot because, like, years ago when I worked at Babbage's Store 58 in Danbury, I remember, like the transition from the ball mice to the optical, when, you would have to, slide that little locking mechanism out, drop the ball out, clean it because they would, get all funky, and like, oh, this new Microsoft, and like that Microsoft mouse that everyone had then became that Microsoft optical mouse that everyone had.
Still got one of those.
Coming at the bottom. Yeah, they're just tanks. And I remember like that. Like it's weird to think about like that. It was like a shift, But like when you showed that picture, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember having 40 of these.
Yeah, and these days, that's it. A lot of these things you can't find. So like getting a RAM card for a 286 PC is, Anyway, I won't go too far. So now I've got a 286, portable with 4 megabytes of RAM.
Very cool.
I could go all the way up to 16 if I wanted to, but what would, it'd be silly. So yeah, that's it. As far as playing games goes, a little bit again of the Neo Geo, because I recapped it the other day, because I kind of just, I'd already done the BIOS swap, and so I just kind of wanted to finish all the inside work with it. So I recapped it, put it all back in there. I did a recap Navy mod for a friend's ColecoVision not too long ago, and he was happy because he grew up with Coleco, so he was really glad to be able to have an easy way to play that again.
Connecticut leather.
Yeah, there you go. Right, and so I got him up and running with that. And I did some more work on a Pentium 3 that I've got. So I had a Voodoo 3 sitting around. I swapped a Voodoo 3 into it. It's kind of my disc making machine as well, because it's got all the different floppies and a zip drive and everything else. And so I've just been getting it kind of geared up as well. And so, and I'm waiting for the slow boat of some other Neo Geo games to hopefully arrive at some point. It's been a few months, so I would imagine I'm probably getting within the window of them actually showing up. And then, we're going to probably talk about those things, but I've got the Mario collection coming in soon, mostly for the kids. And then, did a big pre-order, but I see that we're going to get into some of that. The other thing I wanted to bring up real quick is the coolest thing, and I wish I hadn't had to spend all my money on a pre-order this month, but there's a guy or a company that's made translucent Saturn shell replacements, and you can pre-order them right now. $90 a piece. They look amazing. I'm so tempted to try to just still find or maybe create and sell something real quick, because, like getting like a clear Saturn shell would just be really pretty amazing. I would really like to do that. But yeah, there's always like a lot of really cool stuff coming out for like retro computers. So this same company did a same thing for Dreamcast not too long ago, and it went really well. So they said, okay, we're going to do a Saturn one. And so they're taking orders on that. Man, I just love that so much stuff is going on for the retro scene.
And you're talking about the system shell.
Yes.
Right, yeah, because for a minute I thought you were talking about like the game case shell, which I know some, I think, what was it, Limited?
Yeah.
Did those?
Just started doing those. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, and that's something that me and Chris from Retro World Expo talked about doing a while ago. He was like, hey, like, do you think we could figure out a way to, redo these? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, let's look into it. So we talked to all these different manufacturers, and we're like, how do we get the mold, or can we remake one? And they started to, there's the whole process of trying to do that, and like it was so daunting. We're like, yeah, like this is beyond us. So it took someone, obviously, with enough resources and enough stick to itiveness to do it. But yeah, I remember. But you're talking about the system shell. So would you just replace the shell on a system, or you're not looking to like take the guts of like a Sega CD and like fit it into like a Saturn cell or something?
No, well, I've got two Saturns. So I've got my
Mm.
launch Saturn that I bought day one, and this shell, they're only doing the Model 2 Saturn. It's on Model 2 shell, which is fine. And my Model 2 has a mod chip in it and everything, so I would just transplant it into that. And I think if I ever get an optical disc emulator or whatever, it's going to end up in that one anyway. And so, I just be able to look inside and see the guts. They've got different ones, so if you don't want just clear, they've got different colors like purple and like a pink, and but to me it would just be awesome to just have a see-through Sega Saturn.
Nice.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll see if before the window closes if I can try to sneak one of those things in. I recapped the power supply on my Saturn as well not so long ago, but I probably should redo the whole thing if I can. But that's that's been keeping me busy.
Sounds like it. Jeez.
I love it's. This summer I've been doing so much electronics work, and I really enjoy it, and it's very good. Keeps me busy, uses my hands. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Good.
Nice. What about you, Bill?
So as far as
how many computers have you fixed in the last couple of months?
I don't want to talk about it.
A lot of manually configuring config sys and auto exec bat, right?
Exactly. Yeah. just nothing but making boot disks so that everybody can play their 386 DOS run games with their Sound Blaster 16 drivers. But yeah, so like I mentioned before, life kind of got in the way for a little while there, and I was doing my regular thing, kind of popping into Destiny 2 here and there and doing some raids. And this time of year is always kind of a lull for Destiny because it's the summertime, there's no new content, and the fall expansion, was supposed to come out in September, ended up getting pushed to November. So what they do at this time every year is they have this event called the Solstice. They call it the Solstice of Heroes, or they call it the Moments of Triumph. There's a few different things they've done with it, but basically they kind of give you like this whole checklist of like old content to go back through and be like, oh, remember how cool this was? Do this again, and we'll give you this cool reward. And like you get different armor glows or like a title that goes above your head, so kind of regular Destiny stuff. So I was like, well, whatever, it'd get a good excuse to kind of get back with the clan guys and do some fun stuff and say, oh, remember when we did this? This was so cool. So did that for a little bit. But didn't really want to sink like all of my time into it, so didn't really do any of the PvP stuff or any of that. And then so that was kind of right around the time like Vacation was going on, which was the first show that I missed when we stayed the vacation bit. And then once I got back and kind of stuff blew up at work and I didn't want to really be playing games. I didn't want to be in front of a screen when I got home from work, right? So I really kind of stopped playing games for a while. Just like took it easy and took a few weeks to kind of like, settle down and just be at home and just like, listen to records or just kind of relax, spend time with the kids. And I actually spent a lot of time just watching my kids play, and my kids would ask me to play with them, and that was really cool. So, when Minecraft Dungeons first came out, we grabbed it on Xbox Game Pass, and I think, like Chris mentioned on one of the first shows that I missed, that his kids had kind of tried it. It was cool, and like maybe we'll go back to it at some point. And that's kind of how my kids were at first with it. Like
well, they've dragged me back in. Don't worry.
Yep.
I didn't mention that, but they've dragged me into playing sometimes. So when it gets hard, then they pull Dad in.
So we started together, like the three of us, and like we went in, and I'll tell you, like it was quite frustrating that anybody can pause the game at any time, but like you continue to get attacked.
Yes, like every time they pick up an item, they want to let go, and you're like, no, stop.
Yep. And so I do like that there's like shared what do you call it, like the gems or like the jewels, whatever they're called. So those are kind of shared, and like they'll just kind of like you'll absorb them automatically. A few will go to everybody, and there are drops that anybody can pick up, and then there are reserve drops, which is kind of cool because if you've ever played Diablo with Krabby, he is getting all of the loot because he is the one who is killing things and he is going to like, oh, can I have that? And he's like, sucker. So
Oh, I share all the loot.
no, he
Come on.
does. He does. I'm giving him some guff, but yeah, he is a good team leader. But in Minecraft, so they have these reserve drops, so it'll be a different color depending on like which player gets to get it. So things will drop, and there's still like a billion ads on the screen, and Cameron will go pick up this bow and just pause, go to inventory. It's like, oh, Daddy, look what I got. And not only is your like controller vibrating because you're still being attacked, but like the screen is like flashing red on the outsides of it to like let you know like you're all taking damage. So, and you really don't want to be yelling at your kids or like causing like a frustrating anxiety-inducing moment. But you're like, get out of the menu! Get out of the menu right now! We're in combat.
And do you have this thing too where like they will, like they'll just keep running and running,
Yep.
and like their health
Yep.
refills are gone, and they'll just keep running into the middle,
Yep.
and I'm just like, just stop for a minute, just
yeah.
stop,
Yeah.
and let's
Okay,
recharge. Just stop.
Stop. Just wait. Just stop. And then Callahan will drop because he's the highest level, and because he plays, when me and Cameron aren't around, so he's the highest level, and then he'll drop this thing. It's like an AOE healing effect. So we're like, Callahan, we need to heal. We need to heal. So he'll drop it, and then Cameron will be in it, and he'll use his potion. And I'm like, dude, you didn't need to use your potion because you were healing. You were just in there. And he was like, it's okay. My potion was ready. And then he like Leroy Jenkins through like 5 rooms of people, and then he's dead. And I'm like, dude,
Yep.
if you didn't use your potion earlier, you would still have, so you're trying to, kind of keep it calm and just kind of give these fundamental, things. And then they would go forward and then they die. And I'm like, guys, see what happened? Like we died. And they're like, it's okay. We get 3 more turns. And I'm like, no, it is, but
Yeah, and then they wipe, and then
Yep.
they're like, oh, and you're like, we would have had that. Just relax.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So it's, I mean, it's great because you get to kind of like you get to see them learn the same way that you did, and it's great. Like you try to, and it's like, your parents try to teach you and you're like, yeah, whatever, Dad. And you go off and you make your own mistakes and then that's how you learn. So, but yeah, so they kind of, that we started playing it and they kind of fell out of it. And then something like brought them, like they just had the itch to play it again. And like now, it's so cool too because like they love and they still play just regular proper Minecraft, but they keep kind of getting sucked back into this. And my kids, they both have had like speech therapy for like minor speech issues, so a lot of times I think they're saying things that aren't real. So like and I don't know if these exist in regular Minecraft, but they're talking about the mushroom.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's
like,
a real thing.
and I'm like, mushroom? And I'm like, no, buddy, it's a mushroom. And he's like, no. So there's a cow
So you,
with mushrooms.
Bill, you've been sending your
growing
kids to
out of
speech
it.
therapy all these years, and they're literally just talking about Minecraft. They don't need this.
They're fine.
Yeah.
Dad, he's just talking about mushrooms. So yeah, and then I'm like, dude, buddy, it's a mushroom. And then they show me, and I'm like, oh no, you're right. Like, there's actually mushrooms. But it's just great, and because like they're just so into it. So, and they're, Dad, you got to come help us. And then they're level like 50 and 42, and my guy's level like 12. I'm like, guys, I'm not helping you. I'm a hindrance. So now Callahan's like, okay, Dad, I'm gonna play on your file. I'm gonna level you up, and then you can play with. So, it's just crazy that they've kind of found something that because for years we tried to get them to play something together. And even though they have their little things where they're like, and they'll say it to each other, like, get out of the menu, or that's my drop, or they do kind of play it together. And for years we've tried to find something that they, kind of wouldn't fight over. So it's kind of cool they got into that. They still jump back into Mario Maker, and my younger son likes Yoshi's Crafted World still. And randomly, I was like, you know what? I haven't played Switch in a while, and I picked up the Switch Lite because I prefer the way it feels handheld to our full Switch. And I fired up Axiom Verge. And my first thought when it hit the title screen was like, oh my God, this music, I forgot how good it was. And then I just started playing it. And I don't mean to down talk Hollow Knight because it's great. But one of the things that I hear a lot of people say about Hollow Knight whenever it comes up in conversation, or like, in like an article or something, is like, oh, like this is one of the best Metroidvanias ever made. When I play Axiom Verge, I'm thinking like, it's not even close. Like Axiom Verge is so good. And I was just outside playing it, and my kids will see me playing a game, and they're like, "Oh, like what's that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's you wouldn't like it. It's hard. Like don't worry about it." But then both of my kids started playing Axiom Verge, and they were playing it for like 3 4 days, and they don't get very far, but they really like it, so that's kind of cool. And then Cameron's like, "I want to play Zelda." I'm like, "I don't know, buddy, because he just turned 5, and he's not like super, he doesn't really play games that are very difficult. He just kind of likes simple stuff." But he started it, and he played it for like a couple of days, and like once, and he was into it, and he was playing. And I took the Switch and I looked at it. Hasn't like climbed a single tower, like doesn't have a sword, just running around. He's like, "Daddy, look what happens when I see it. Well, like if the goblin sees me, he runs after me and he tries to kill me." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly what happened. What are you gonna do?" And he's like, "I'm gonna try to have him see me, hide behind this tree, and then he won't see me." And then he like goes to the corner, and then he does that, and he comes back, and he's like, "Daddy, it didn't work." So that's pretty cool. So I've been experiencing games through my kids' eyes recently, which has actually really been super awesome. And the only thing that I just started playing recently is we played Stick of Truth with the Playcast when they played it a while back, and I really enjoyed it. And I've owned the Fractured But Whole for a while. It was like super cheap on a Steam sale, like $2 or $3. So I was just random, like yesterday, I was like, I haven't played anything in a while. I opened up Steam, and it was like the first kind of thing that popped up that, because like it'll give you recommendations of things that you own but you haven't played yet, but it knows you're kind of into that kind of thing. So it popped right up, and I was like, sold. So started playing it, got a couple hours in. Really cool so far. Some good improvements, like quality of life improvements over Stick of Truth. Mini map is great. Um, the I haven't seen any Chimpokemon yet, so I'm really hoping they make a return. The Coonstagram is kind of cool, doing the followers. It's as funny as the first one was so far. The only thing that I'm not nuts about, it's got this like weird kind of like positional battle system as opposed to like just like a traditional turn-based RPG, kind of like a Final Fantasy, Super Mario RPG, just like what do you want to do? Attack, defend, item.
Yeah, it's like got a grid-based system.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like Front Mission South Park, and or I don't know what game you would describe it to, but yeah, it's like a 3x6 grid, I think it is, and you position yourself, and then your attacks have like an area of impact, and then certain ones have knockbacks, so it's very strategic and like kind of how you're hitting, and it's not bad so far, but I feel like I'm looking at the pattern of where it's going to hit as opposed to like what does this attack do? Is it fire? Is it ice? Is it a status effect? I'm just looking at shapes and being like, that's the shape that currently matches where the enemies are. So maybe I'll kind of get the hang of it a bit more. I'm still very early, but yeah, that's kind of like what I've been doing in the gaming world. So Krabby, I assume you have been playing Nintendo games.
I beat my 600th NES game recently.
Yeah, then you have to tell people what it was.
It was Might and Magic.
Yeah, bad choice.
Secret of the Inner Sanctum. Hey, it's over now. It's a good choice. I don't have to dread looking forward to that coming up.
It's one way to celebrate 600.
The achievement for beating that game is called Never Again.
I normally actually don't mind like the first person kind of dungeon crawlers. Once I get going in them, they're always really hard to start. That one, I never had that moment though where it clicked. Like it's just a real confusing grind fest, and there's no like story to pay it off, and the world's not all that interesting, and there really wasn't a big redeeming factor. Like after playing like Wizardry, I really got into it, and Pool of Radiance really got into it. This one though, like just never clicked. And there's a couple enemy types who have to be glitched, or like there's a programming error because they're like in a group of bad guys and the rest of the group is hitting me for like 10 to 20 damage. And then when this one enemy hits me, it's like 255.
Yes, that would be a glitch, I would say.
Yeah.
And 255 too. That's like a very programming number.
Yes.
It's FF. Yes.
So there's one part in the game where there's, I'm trying to go down this dungeon and collect this item. and there's occasionally mandatory fights where they're just like locked in a tight corridor. You can't walk around that space or anything. And one of those glitched battles was there, and it was all enemies that hit for 255. And there was like 11 of them, and all my guys have like maybe 40 hit points. I'm like racking my brain, like, how do I figure this out? And I had to grind for like 15 hours to level up my guys enough that it unlocked some spells so I could attack enemies that weren't in the front row. And I had enough guys that, because I knew they would have a minimum of 3 attacks if I had the best RNG when I entered the battle. So I also had to like go and make sure they didn't get first attack and stuff like that. So that, because if they got 2 attacks, my whole team's wiped. So I had to go through and kill as many as I could with like trying to have only 3 of them left. And I think there was like 9 of them in that battle.
Oh my.
And so I was going to take 3 hits and I was going to lose 3 characters. So I had to lose the right 3 characters, because if I lost my thief, I couldn't open the doors to get out. If I lost my white mage, I couldn't teleport out of the dungeon after I got the item. So I played through that fight like dozens of times until I got through it with the right 3 characters still alive. And then one of the times where I did that, I got killed by another group of enemies right after, just because my team was so weak and I had to redo it again. I was so upset.
Excellent choice. Excellent choice.
After that part of the game, it went pretty smoothly. That part was just really rough.
What's funny, I have to insert is, Kelsey's, asking me before, like, yeah, what do you think? What do you think my 600th game should be? I didn't suggest Might and Magic. You can believe that.
Hey, I played your suggestion as $5.99.
You did.
I did. And it was Guardian Legend. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was better than Might and Magic.
Should have made that one 600. Yeah.
Where would this rank on your most frustrating NES experiences? Is this right up there in like the top 3 or 4, or are there more frustrating ones on this?
Better or worse than baseball?
Better than baseball.
Well, that's just boring. Well, baseball just boring,
variety
right?
of,
Not
there's variety of stuff. Like the baseball games. Yeah, the bases loaded, there's just too much of them is the problem. Not that they're bad. It's just it's the same thing over and over and over. At least there's different bad guys in different areas, and there's some decent music in Might and Magic. Yeah, I don't know. It might crack the top 10 for frustrating, but I don't think it hit the top 3.
Is it a Dragon's Lair frustrating?
No, Dragon's Lair I don't find as frustrating as I think a lot of people do. Don't play it like a platformer like it looks like. Play it like a Dragon's Lair game where everything kills you the first time because you don't know which direction to push. It's just trial and error the whole time.
Yeah. Well, congrats.
Yeah, nice
you.
work.
It feels like I'm in the home stretch now, which is really, really exciting. And then once I have 50 games left, I think that's another like big milestone where it'll just feel like it's coming together, and I'm getting really close to that. Because since Might and Magic, I also beat Pinbot, Infiltrator, Tecmo World Wrestling, and Little League Baseball.
Tecmo World Wrestling.
That's actually one of the better fighting games and wrestling games on the system, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I was impressed with it. I liked it.
All right. Then maybe I'm confusing it with something else.
I think pro wrestling is the only one we ever got into. We never played the WWF ones.
Some of those are okay.
Yeah.
What's that really early wrestling game that's...
Tag Team?
Yes, that's the one.
That's a bad one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Oh, it was so terrible.
No. The Tecmo sports games are actually pretty good, and World Wrestling's not an exception. Like, it's got some of the better grappling. All the characters actually have different moves. There's these really cool special moves once you get the guys down under half health that you can do. The music's fantastic throughout the whole thing. It has some of the better animation for a fighting game. I was really impressed with it.
Cool.
Yeah. A buddy of mine who had similar work weeks to Bill recently, where he's just had nightmares at work. He's like, I got 2 weeks off. He's like, come over and we're just going to play something. And so I went over to his house and we started Digital Devil Saga for the PS2. He's the same guy I went through the Devil Summoner games with and Nocturne. And so we're like smashing out all the Shin Megami games on the PS2. And I'm really impressed with Digital Devil Saga. And there's just a couple quality of life things that really bother me. So I'm hoping when we finish it and move on to 2, it just like picks up where 1 left off, but changes a couple things. I think it'll be a lot of high hopes for 2. But 1's really fun so far. I had a buddy over, or my neighbor over. He's like texting me out of the blue. He's like, "I'm coming over. We're playing some Mario Kart tonight." So he came over, we played some Mario Kart 8, had a really good time. He's like, "You pick something now." And we booted up some Ikaruga and played a few rounds of Ikaruga, which is really, really fun. He'd never played that before. Another friend I caught up with, I haven't seen in a couple months. We just sat down and played through Super Mario Bros. 3. And it was great. No warp whistles, just did it the old-fashioned way, and so much fun.
That's not a short game if you go through all of it.
No, it's about 3 to 4 hours when you're playing everything. Yeah. And like we're both a little rusty on it, but I think we did pretty good for the most part.
Which version did you play?
He just had the Switch one, the NES games that are on the Switch there when you sign into the online. Sure. So we played that version. Yeah. And then I read the book for Pool of Radiance, which I had on my shelf. I don't even remember where I got it. Probably when I had my store. But I just caught my eye because I've been reading a lot lately, and I really liked Pool of Radiance for the NES, so I thought I'd check out the book and see if it was as good. It is not. The NES game I thought was fascinating, how it told the story and the things you could do in there for a game of that age. And the book didn't quite live up to that, but it was fun to read. I haven't read like a fantasy novel in like decades probably, so yeah, it was just neat to feel like a 12-year-old again, read some crappy old 80s fantasy book.
I used to read a lot of the Weiss and Hickman, fantasy novels and stuff in the day in series. But yeah, I'm like, you haven't read any in decades.
Yeah, I was really big into the Terry Brooks Shannara books. I think I read like 10 of those or something when I was a kid. And then the Lord of the Rings and stuff like that too, but it's been a while.
Yeah, like the Pern books. I thought, I'm wondering if my kids are getting, like Maddie, maybe she's getting old enough for the Pern books, but I don't know. Hey, we'll see.
Yeah, so that's been my gaming over the last couple weeks. And then just because of the episode we're doing today, I booted up some Mario Odyssey a couple nights ago to just play like 10 minutes on every level, just run around, grab a moon or two that I remembered where they were, and it's so good. It's like such a comfort game.
We're going to talk about some other news that's more timely, you think?
Yeah. Did you guys catch the PlayStation 5 event?
Caught it after the fact. I know you and Adam were jib-jabbing back and forth a whole lot during it. I got the messages, but I was in a meeting at the time, unfortunately. So I just kind of can glance over and see these texts pop up, which are rather cryptic to some degree. But
try not to spoil it, because I knew you mentioned you wouldn't be able to watch it right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was really, really cool. They showed more of like Spider-Man and Demon Souls, which are both going to be launch games. Final Fantasy 16 as an exclusive, which no, I don't think most people expected. There was a rumor leading into it, but even with that rumor, I was like, that's not happening.
Though, all that means is there'll be a Royal Edition or something that comes out later that's going to be on everything else. I mean,
probably 12 months later or something.
And I think it was like during it there was a little thing that said like, oh, like also available for PC, but then like on the website that was gone, and like they asked them about it and they were like, we have nothing to say at this time. So it's definitely a console exclusive for a window of time, and probably coming to PC and other things, but like I would expect at least a year on PlayStation.
It was just weird to me when we saw that, because they didn't show a lot of gameplay, and what they showed really looked to me like Devil May Cry.
Yeah, really action heavy combat for sure. I'm just really pumped that it's like really pushing into the fantasy again and kind of leaving out the like tech stuff. Those are not my favorite Final Fantasies, like 7 and 8. I like when they go like the full medieval magic and stuff.
I'm with you there.
I have this weird aversion to like when everything's like British accents. Like so like the accent really just kind of threw me, where everyone kind of sounds like Game of Thronesy stuff, and like it's very like it just, and I know like it makes sense in the context of like what they're doing and everything, but like I don't know, it just kind of threw me off. But I agree that like the combat looked like a kind of a combination of Final Fantasy 15, where you're like controlling it's almost like a mix between 7 remake and 15, where like it's action combat, but like it looks like you're only controlling one person. I don't know if they showed any, like there might be some more team-based stuff, but
they never showed even a menu or an interface.
Yeah.
It was just some action shots. So
Yeah.
who knows? Might be too early.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be 2 or 3 years off. We don't have a date on that one yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I would guess 22 at the earliest, but we'll see.
Yeah, me too.
Can we?
And then they mostly just showed other stuff that we'd already seen, I think.
Isn't it just
Call of Duty. And...
strange to me? I mean, well, going back and watching it after the fact, was it just me, or was it like really weird that it was like, okay, just here's some odd trailers. We're not really going to say anything else. And a price. And bye. And you're like, wait, what? You know, they didn't talk. They didn't really talk much about it.
Wasn't it just and by? It was like, hey, one more thing. And then they teased that God of War 2 is coming next year.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
that's a big
then
tease.
we get tweets like a few minutes, like a little bit later that's like, oh, by the way, here it is. Go buy it now. Oh, and by the way, here's your launch games.
Demon's Souls is the launch game.
And like,
there was a lot of
you just
info that came
had a
out
video.
immediately
You're like,
after.
why could you have maybe in the video put that this was a launch? You know, it was just weird.
But the video had to be edited before they knew what the price was going to be.
Yeah, but I mean, they must have known that this game, like Demon's Souls, is ready, right?
Yeah, and Spider-Man, and yeah, there's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and then
weird.
hadn't they said like the Spider-Man thing was exclusive, but now it's coming out on PS4?
They didn't say that exactly. They were really misleading over the last few months because they kept saying like, we believe in generations. Our games are generational. Like you're going to play PS5 games on the PS5. And then, yeah, last minute, they're like, but except for Spider-Man and Horizon, those are going to be on PS4 as well. So they've been like, yeah, like taking little pot shots at Microsoft for their plan and then secretly doing the exact same thing for the first 2 years. Like Microsoft said they were.
Yeah, it's been super. And like, did you guys see the tweet today they put out?
Yeah, they apologized for a terrible pre-order situation for most people.
And so did and I know I'm separate from a lot of people in this, but my news item that I had in here was the new GeForce cards, the RTX 3080 and 3090s have been, the specs have been released, some benchmarks have started to come out.
Just ignoring the 3070?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Not even gonna talk about it?
Nope, we're just gonna glaze right over it. And same thing, like pre-orders open for it, and like we're a complete disaster, a la the PlayStation 5 pre-orders. Only like I don't think anybody could get them, or like they would show up for like 2 seconds and then they would drop out of your cart. There are like 1-star reviews for all the GTX cards, and it's all just people like, I tried for 7 hours to pre-order this thing and I couldn't do it. So it's just weird how like you would think like in the internet age where like you can go to Ticketmaster and get put in a queue to buy concert tickets and or packs, you get put in a queue and like like it shuffles you through. Like how can no one figure out how to do pre-orders properly?
Yeah, I saw all the PS5 stuff. People like I can't get it, and then all of a sudden someone's like it's up at Target, and everyone tries Target, and it's up at Best Buy. And then you see people like trickling out, like I got one or I got two, I'll sell one to you, and then slowly figuring out the big mess. But everyone I saw tweeting about those cards was like, "Did anybody get one?" And everyone's like, "No, nobody got one."
So now we have Nvidia apologize for that, Sony apologized for theirs, like.
Yeah, and Microsoft saying like, we've got all our ducks in the order. Yeah. This is when it's happening. If any of our retailers jump the gun, we're going to punish them with lower
allocation. Yeah.
So hopefully that goes smooth for them because the last couple didn't go well.
Yeah, I don't even understand that. Like, they didn't even have any of this information in their video, and why is Jeff Keighley like the guy that gets to tell all? Like, even not even their official Twitter account tells this information.
Yeah. Like I know Jeff gets the scoops all the time, and he's got a lot of.
But it was like literally,
it seemed really weird.
Literally, like right after the thing ended, he was putting this stuff out. Like, wait, what? We just watched. It was just on. Yeah. And I mean, that was the weird part because remember you said that you had signed up for like whatever that goofy Sony email, like be the first to pre-order whatever.
Yeah, they didn't get back to me. I didn't get picked.
It didn't really matter though, did it? Because they weren't the first ones to get a chance to pre-order anyway.
No, they weren't the first ones, but they didn't have to deal with like, being in a Best Buy queue, like trying to keep it in your cart. So they got theirs a couple days later, but they had to be invited to do that. So,
but this is where I saw this stuff going on. I literally just went onto Walmart. Oh, there it is. Click, click, click. Okay, I'm done. I'm good. I got one.
Yeah.
And it was easy.
Up here, I went on to Best Buy first, and when I first opened it up, it was like, hey, they're here. I clicked on it. By the time my shopping cart went to cash out, they're like, we're out of stock. So it booted me out. So I tried EB Games, and their website kept crashing and crashing and crashing. Like, I had one in my cart, I just could not get to the checkout. So while I had that up, I opened up London Drugs, which usually isn't the first one people go to up here. So I tried that one, hoping I could get one. And same thing that happened at Best Buy. Like, it showed one when I got there, but by the time I tried to check out, it's like, nope, we're gone. Right. So this whole time I'm still trying to refresh the EB Games one. It kept crashing. Eventually Walmart Canada started taking them too, and I got one through there.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a bit of a pain. Didn't take me 7 hours like the RTX guys. Like, I was on for maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, I just, man, it's mind-boggling, right? Like, yeah, it's just, I'm glad that it seems like they're now starting to get a handle on it a little bit, but man.
Hopefully, yeah.
It does.
With that apology, they said they were going to open more pre-orders up and up the stock and stuff. So
it does gets better. And it does seem like one of those things that, like, it's a news item right now, and like everybody had a pain with it, but like in like 2 months, no one's gonna remember it. It's just one of those speed bumps.
Unless
they will, because the scalpers are going to be driving them sky high. So yeah, people will be talking about this.
That was gonna happen regardless, though.
But every like major outlets but sending people emails like, hey, you're probably not going to get this on launch day. So yeah, if nobody gets theirs on launch day, that'll be an issue too. I think people complain about it.
Walmart,
mine says I should get it on the 20th, which is 8 days out.
Walmart sent me my email confirmation right away. It says, November 12th delivery date.
Nice. I got that right away, and then I got a second email like 10 minutes later that's like, it's coming on the 20th.
Oh yeah, I think I must have got lucky or something. I mean, I was shocked at how simple it was. I figured, no, this is gonna just not work at all.
And I remember you saying, like, you're like, I don't need one until I can get Demon's Souls. I didn't expect you to be picking one up.
Well, I told you when Demon's Souls comes out, I would get a PlayStation 5, and I did. So I mean,
well done.
That's gonna postpone the Xbox order, but that's okay.
I already have my Xbox. It's sitting right on my.
I think they're talking about the new fridge model, Bill.
The paper cutout.
Did you from that tweet you made one? Did
they
you?
Posted on Twitter? Oh, that was so cool.
Did you print one out?
See what it's gonna. Oh yeah, I was at work, and we have the size paper. We have ledger paper, and we have a plotter. So I was like, all right, we're doing this.
I need to do that so I can see if it'll fit where I currently have my regular Xbox.
Exactly. Just and I showed that tweet to my wife, and she was like, "We could really confuse the kids."
It's gonna be the worst Christmas ever.
We got it. No. Well, the good news is it doesn't have to be online or update or anything. So,
Dad, it's so light.
Physical forever.
It's weird. This has just been to me. I don't know. It's like the weirdest console launch that I remember.
Oh, for sure.
Totally.
For everybody, yeah. And I know I'm kind of in a weird spot where I've kind of pulled back from games a bit, and I'm not kind of as in tune with the new launches as a lot of people are, and I personally don't plan on getting them this year. And I kind of have this thing, the last few consoles, except for the PlayStation 4, I kind of got right away. I got my day one Xbox, and I got the Series X pretty much right when it came out, and I got the Switch pretty shortly. I resisted a little bit, but I was like, nah, I gotta get it. So I got everything kind of pretty quickly, and in most, in a lot of cases it was all right, but in a few of them, it's 8 months later, oh, well, there's a price drop, or there's a better bundle, or here's a cool color, and I keep saying, next time consoles come out, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait that 8-10 months, whatever. I'm going to get the price drop. I'm going to get the game bundle. So this time I kind of feel like I'm in that headspace where like I can actually do it, So we'll see what happens with that. Like if they fool me with a like a custom system in the spring or something like that.
But that was I think I even chat in the chat with you guys and put like I was like maybe I'll just hold on and wait a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
But then Sony has to go and which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I also want to point out right before the conference, Chris was like, "Hey, what do you think these prices are going to be?"
Yeah,
guess who nailed it?
Yeah,
I
give it to you. I give it to you.
And I should pull that message up, but I think you teased me. Like, you're crazy. It's not good.
I was very seriously shocked that they did that. I wonder how much money they're losing on each machine.
Yeah, especially on that digital one, because I don't think they wanted to go that low.
Yeah.
And apparently the rumors are that it's like somewhere between 1% to 5% of the pre-orders are those digital ones, and everyone's pissed because a lot of people want those ones,
really?
And they can't get them, so they're just going with the disc one.
Well, that's funny. And then since the last show, though, when we were all on talking, the Xbox prices came out too, right? So we didn't really get a chance to talk about that. So the 500 and then the S leaked, which I think a lot of people know. We'd had that conversation. I still don't think that it's a good idea to have the S out there, but whatever. But $300, right?
That's a pretty good price. And they got that financing option too, which seems shady, but it's there for people, which I'm sure they'll take advantage of it.
And I think they've had that for a while, or at least maybe they were testing it, or maybe it was a Microsoft Store only thing. But yeah, it's been out there where it's like 25 or 35 a month or whatever for the system with Game Pass, and when you add it up over the so it's like could be like $700 or $800 like over the course of like the 2 or 3 years or whatever. But when you factor in the price of Game Pass or like not having to buy games, it's like okay, I could see some people jumping in on that. It's like you said, it's one of those things. It's definitely not for everybody. Everyone's got different circumstances, but it's kind of like do you rent the cable box from your provider, or do you buy your thing on your own type deal, or your modem or whatever. So yeah, I mean it's giving people the option. So I don't know if they've ever released numbers on those. I'd be super curious to know like what kind of like numbers they have on how many people take advantage of that type of program.
I think it was like test markets before. I don't think it was full, so I don't think they have solid numbers for that.
I think you're right.
I saw a tweet that somebody put together that kind of broke out that thing. They're like, okay, so if you bought a Series X and then you paid full retail for the Game Pass Ultimate and all this stuff, that you would actually come out like maybe like $20 ahead if you did the payment plan. But I mean, let's be honest, nobody probably buys full retail of those like subscriptions or anything. I mean, I know like PlayStation Plus, I just saw like some place selling them for like $30 the other day.
Yeah.
For a year.
Yeah, you wait till someone's got it for exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a terrible option, I think, for some people. I won't use it, but
yeah. So you're going to go for the big boy though, right? The X? Yeah,
I don't see a reason not to. Because I'll still have the the regular Xbox One X that so that's kind of thing that to me I'm like I'm fine with it. I can wait a little while because I don't think anything's going to really be much exclusive yet. So and most of these things are upgradable. So I'll probably maybe spring or something. Maybe I can save up enough pennies again to get one.
I'm going to keep my eyes out because Scorn looks interesting and Chorus looks interesting. And I think those are sticking to Xbox as far as I've heard. I don't think I've heard them coming to PlayStation. But those two piqued my interest. If those look good and people like them, I might jump in earlier than I was thinking I would. So I was thinking probably not even next year for an Xbox, probably like 2022.
Yeah, prices will probably pop down a little bit or something by then. Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting another. Next year, because again, I've already got this Game Pass paid for, so why not?
Yeah. All right, you guys want to get on to the topic? Quit talking about Sony and Microsoft.
Woohoo!
Talk about the only one that matters. Some Nintendo. So it's Mario's 35th anniversary.
That guy's old dude.
The new All Stars collection just came out, so I thought it'd be a great time to just talk about Mario, what it means to us and our favorite games in the series and stuff like that.
Mario.
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 Super Mario.
Oh, I'm gonna edit you every time. It's gonna be a long edit.
It's me, Mario.
So, how old were both of you when you first played Mario for the first time, and what was your first Mario game?
I mean, I'm old, so Donkey Kong in the arcade. So, how old was I in Donkey Kong in the arcade came out? I don't know. What was it, like, 82? So
83, I think.
83 maybe. So
Something
I
like that,
was
12.
no, like 8.
47, 8.
So I was like 8 when Donkey Kong came out, something like that. So yeah, I'm ancient. So yeah.
Wow.
So was that a formative game for you, or was that just like another cool arcade game, or did that one kind of stick out to you in any way?
Donkey Kong was super popular. So I mean, in arcade terms, there was, Space Invaders, but Pac-Man. I mean, I remember when Pac-Man hit, and I was still fairly young, but I mean, Pac-Man was everywhere, and everybody was talking about Pac-Man, and everything was Pac-Man. And then Donkey Kong came out, and that's the thing that finally started bringing the temperature down on Pac-Man, and people started looking away from it. So, yeah, and I remember playing it and going, this game is so hard, but I'm a kid. And then I remember I got 2600, Pac-Man Donkey Kong for the Atari 2600, and boy, it sucked. But I played the heck out of it. And then my friend down the street got the ColecoVision that came with Donkey Kong for Christmas, and so yeah, we were over at his house playing freaking Donkey Kong a lot. Yeah, so I'm old. There you go.
So it's interesting that you bring that up. So, and quick correction, I believe it's pronounced Danky Kang. So when you would play, because for me, I didn't play Danky Kang until after playing the Mario games. So you look at it and you're like, oh, there's Mario. Like he's the guy in there. So when you played Donkey Kong, is that something that before Mario was kind of known as his own character? You're like, oh, that's the bad guy. That's Mario.
Well, no, that's I know you guys weren't around for that, but it was so big, like like those Scholastic book order things. I had like Donkey Kong activity books. I had the Donkey Kong board game. I mean, Donkey Kong was big. Yeah. So I don't really remember if they called him Mario. I think they started to in that era. I do remember Pauline for sure. They did say Pauline. And Donkey Kong, but Mario was kind of just like that character that was in the thing.
Just Jumpman at the time.
I guess, yeah. But I mean, like in the books and stuff that I got, it was more all focused on Pauline and Donkey Kong. I mean, Mario was there, but again, the story and everything else was much more focusing on Donkey Kong and Pauline. But yeah, it was everywhere. I mean, I ate Donkey Kong cereal. I mean, yeah, it was everywhere. Totally.
You drank the Donkey Kong Kool-Aid.
I mean, probably. It was... And I remember when the original Mario Brothers came in the arcade. I loved it. I played a lot, and one of the first games I got for the NES after I got mine was Mario Brothers, because I just loved playing it.
Yeah, so I am much younger than Chris.
Hey!
I was born not that much younger. I was born in 81. So I remember my first at least my first memories of Mario was Super Mario Brothers 1, which came with our Nintendo Entertainment System that we got for Christmas in probably 85, maybe 86. I gotta look back and see which Christmas tape that came from. But we opened up the Nintendo and it had we had Mario, Duck Hunt, Gyromite, and so everything that I played kind of after that, when I played Donkey Kong, but so we played Super Mario Brothers before Mario Brothers and before Donkey Kong and before some of the other stuff. So for us it was all Super Mario Brothers 1, and for me, me and my brother and my sister, we all had older cousins, so we were kind of observing the older, cooler kids playing the video games. So we would go to my aunt or uncle's house for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, and it was all these kids who were 12, 13, 14, 15, all playing baseball, Metroid, Punch Out, Castlevania, Contra, Mario, and so we would just kind of experience it through that. And then, but I remember like just in seeing all the games change, and then Mario would come on, and we're like, whoa, like what is this? So Mario was a big deal for us, and then uh, so anything that Mario or Mario adjacent stuff was in before Super Mario Bros, we didn't play until after Super.
Interesting. I'm much, much younger than both of you guys. I wasn't born until 84. So my memory is actually a little foggy because by the time I have memories of gaming being in the house, we owned a 2600 and we definitely played Frostbite. I remember that one. My neighbor later on in life, like just a couple of years later, definitely had a 2600 where we played a lot of Donkey Kong on his 2600. I don't know if I'm messing up those memories with my earlier ones or not, but we definitely got Super Mario Bros. When I was about 5 or 6, and Super Mario Bros. Sorry, and I think that's probably my first introduction to him. And then I probably went over to that neighbor's and played Donkey Kong afterwards. And I remember like we had the 2600 and it was like a board game. Like we'd bring it out when the family wanted to sit down together, and then we were done at the same time. No one really went and played it by themselves. And then when we had the Nintendo at home, we had Duck Hunt and Super Mario Bros. That was when it was like, I need to play this all the time. This is amazing. I don't care if mom or dad aren't playing with me. So it was definitely a very formative game for me.
I agreed. 2600 Donkey Kong it's very formative.
Yeah. I don't like it. It was one of those ones where we played it as a kid, so I don't remember it being bad, and I didn't know there was a better version of it, so I enjoyed it. I played that, and we played like Lunar Lander and Donkey Kong Jr. and yeah, I thankfully not Pac-Man, but yeah, I didn't realize they were terrible at the time. Just enjoyed them because that's what we had to enjoy. So being different ages growing up, how was Mario for you, like growing up? Like you mentioned, like cereal and activity books and stuff for Donkey Kong. Like, did that extend further after when Super Mario became the mascot?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember like the Nintendo cereal system. Do you guys remember like half of it was Mario and half of it was Zelda, and it had like 2 bags in the same box, and you had 2 different cereals in there that you could eat like each side.
So I've seen it online. I've never actually seen that in person.
I ate all that trash as a kid. Pac-Man cereal, Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong was kind of like a Captain Crunch kind of thing. The Zelda one, I mean the NES one was like marshmallows and oats. It was pretty standard stuff. Oh yeah, and there was the books, and I remember I ordered, like the How to Beat Super Mario Brothers book from Nintendo because it had like all the maps and everything in it. And yeah, because I'd played it over at my cousin's because he had gotten the deluxe set really early on, and I'd played it at his house. And yeah, you play Gyromite and you play Duck Hunt and you're like, it's all right. But yeah, Super Mario Brothers, that's what you spent your time with. And oh yeah, it was everywhere. It's, like there was the T-shirts, and I mean I've still got a T-shirt from that age as a kid that I had that's like Mario Madness or whatever on it. And, oh yeah, it's like anything. It's like these. You're like 10 years ago, whatever, when Angry Birds was everywhere. I mean they'll sell everything to kids. They don't care.
Yeah, I feel like I was kind of at a place when Mario was big when I was a kid, where like I didn't really realize I wasn't aware of like advertising and marketing and additional products and like product placement type stuff. So for me, I don't remember ever seeing Mario outside of just playing Mario Brothers, like in our basement. And I'm sure there were, things out there and like, kids wearing Mario shirts, and like, board games, like you said, and puzzles and lunch boxes and just kind of like the regular marketing stuff you see for everything. But for me, like my only memories of, like Mario outside of the playing the games was getting home to watch the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, and then you'd also have the the Zelda you get to switch over to Zelda once in a while. Was it on Fridays or like once a week or every other week or whatever? But yeah, I don't remember Mario outside of the games and that TV show. And then as we got a little bit older, I can't remember how much later this was. I remember being really, really excited and then really, really disappointed at the Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper masterpiece, Super Mario Brothers movie.
It's funny because I was kind of like when the NES first hit and Super Mario Brothers first hit, it was kind of like right at that point, that prepubescent point for me. So a year or two later, when some of this other stuff was going on, that's when I wasn't watching the Mario Super Show or that stuff because I'm at that other age at that point in time where I'm like, oh, there's girls.
You were too cool for school.
Yeah, I mean, it was that middle school time where you're like, oh, watch that stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But I still played the games. That was still fine. You and your friends, even you were older than that. Yeah, you'd still, when Super Mario 3 and stuff came out, we still, played all that stuff and hit the rental stores. But yeah, I missed out. Like I didn't see like the Super Mario Brothers movie in the theater or anything. I didn't watch the Super Show. I was aware of it. My sister's a little younger than I am, and she watched them. She was like Ninja Turtles and some of that stuff, like you guys. And so I got to, tangentially kind of got to see some of that, but I missed out first time around. I don't know if I would say I missed out, but
you weren't involved in those meetings.
yeah. I remember watching it when it came to HBO or whatever it came to later and being like, wow.
Well, it's a lot like what Krabby said is like, you watched it and you enjoyed it. Like you didn't know any better. You didn't know it was bad at the time. You just watched it because that was the only Mario show you had,
I loved it because it had Yoshi in it and the big stupid Toad Goomba. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Big Bertha. Yeah, I loved that movie too growing up. So I was probably about 8 when I really got into it. So this was right before Mario 3 was coming out. And then like Chris said, like I was Scholastic book ordering like the Choose Your Own Adventure Mario books. And what's up, Bill?
Yeah, no, I didn't want to interrupt. You said something and it just totally reminded me of The Wizard.
Yeah.
That was a event outside of like my video game life that like made me aware of Mario in like a big movie. Like I remember hearing rumors, oh guys, like Mario 3 is like it exists, it's in this movie, and you're like, no, it can't be in there. And then it was, and it was amazing. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just like when you said like I was like, oh, it just like instantly I remember like what a big deal The Wizard was, and like seeing Mario 3 like in the movie theater like before like seeing it in reality.
Yeah, and I missed out on that stuff too. I was a little too old for that movie when it came out.
I had no idea that movie existed until I was probably like 20.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know if it's because of my location or not, but like I don't remember anyone hearing about it or talking about it or it just existing until I found out about it after the fact, kind of thing.
And I could imagine seeing it years later and being like, yeah, whatever, no big deal. But like, imagine being like, a kid and like, oh, it's this movie and it's about video games and this kid's, a savant, and they kind of go on this journey and it's like, whatever. But then like
I would have loved it. I got like so excited just because like Three Ninjas, like they're playing Nintendo at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the best movie ever. They have a Nintendo in it.
And then like and then I was the same way. And like every time it would cut to like because like a lot of times in like movies, you could tell they're like not actually playing or it's just a prop. They're just like doing a thing. But like you could tell like there's Nintendo. It's on a TV. They're playing that game. And I remember like the dad, who played by Beau Bridges, and he's like giving Christian Slater all sorts of crap for like playing these dumb games, and then like he like wakes Christian up in the middle of the night because he's playing Ninja Turtles in the motel, and like he's like, no, I almost got it, and then like Christian turns the TV off or the Nintendo off, and he's like, what are you doing? I was already at this level and I got the scroll. Like just imagining that this dad could like not only like get good at Mario and like a night, but would like know like all like the lingo and everything. I remember it was such a big deal every time like a game would come on screen, and then just like being a kid, like being into Mario, not knowing Mario 3 was a thing, and then like they go to like this essentially like the Nintendo World Championships, this like big tournament that happens, and then like they like the curtains pull back and it's Mario 3, and you're like, is this actual thing? This is real? And I remember seeing that movie like before I saw that Mario 3 was a real thing. And I don't know if they timed it that way or if it's just the way, I experienced that, but so cool.
Oh, it was a giant commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like Bo Bridges moment was like, we had that in my house because I remember both my parents like staying up. Like I'd wake up out of my room because I heard Nintendo noises coming out of the living room. They're like, "Go back to bed! Like we made it to level 7. We'll show you in the morning."
Like
that's amazing.
Like my folks never played, but my friend's dad did, and this is the weird part. Like he liked like RPGs, but he didn't want to like do anything but the grinding part. So like he would get the games, and so he would do all the adventure stuff, and his dad would just stay up and just do the fights for hours. Weird.
I not to go off on the tangent, but I've always hated the grind, and when I wanted to grind in Final Fantasy VII, but I hated the grind part of it. TVs used to have this feature that they might still have that no one uses called picture-in-picture. So I would put the game in picture-in-picture and just be watching TV while I was just grinding experience in the bottom corner of the PIP.
Done that one too.
Yep.
So sorry, we got totally derailed there.
No, that's fine. I love these kind of conversations. To go back to that, like my parents like playing Mario like back in the day. We've still had arguments. Like I think the last year is probably the last time we had it about who saved the princess first. Was it me, my dad, or my mom?
Yeah.
We all claim to. And I think we've kind of pieced together over the years that my dad figured out the castle in stage 7 where you have to like go through it in a certain order. I think we got stuck on there for a while, and so I think we've crossed him off the list. Like that was his contribution to getting us to level 8, and then either my mom or me finished it first. I swear it was me, she swears it was her. No way to prove it. But yeah, like Chris, I had like comic books, and I had the choose your own adventure novels, and my mom gave me a big bin of old schoolwork that she'd kept through all my elementary years just last year, and we were going through it, and I had like kindergarten journals, and it's like, I love Toad because he's the strongest in Mario 2, and that's like all I ever wrote about was just Mario Brothers and these things.
That's great.
But again, probably because of my location, because we were in like prairie territory of Manitoba in Canada up here. I don't remember a lot of other kids like wearing Mario shirts or having the books and stuff. I felt like I was the only one.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like people.
It was a thing down here.
I don't have any.
Talk about having those arguments on the playground, like Sonic versus Mario, like or Sega, Nintendo. Never had those either. Like nobody was invested enough in either one to argue about them.
I was of that age when the Genesis came out that was like, oh, this is the cool thing for if you're not a little kid playing Nintendo, now I'm in high school, I can play Sega. It's got football.
I do remember that marketing, and we'll maybe get to this a bit later, and I've spoken about it before on the show, but my parents, especially my mom, was very not happy that the Super did not play the Nintendo games after they'd invested all this money in that. So we asked for the Super, and they were like, absolutely not, we're not spending $200 whatever on this thing, we got to buy all new games. And they ended up getting us Genesis. So because that's what we had, kind of bought into the marketing a little bit. We're like, oh, like this is cooler, this and that, and so that's kind of what we switched to. So for me, I got a big Mario blind spot in the Super N64 eras, because we were just kind of like off the platform, and we were on this in the Sega camp for a bit. So for me, it really was like Mario 1, 2, 3, and then nothing for a while, like maybe even until Sunshine, or maybe when I was in high school and you get a job and you start getting a little bit of young adult money, and you're like, oh, I can go to Funko Land and buy my own 64, type stuff. So but yeah, there's
Wow, you missed like two of the most important ones.
I know, I
That's
know,
nuts.
and I've gone back and I've played Mario World like a bunch, and it's not like 64 for me where like I go back to it and I'm like, okay, like I can see they were transitioning to a new type of technology, 2D to 3D, and they tried a whole bunch of new things. Some of it stuck, some of it didn't, some of it holds up, some of it doesn't. I mean, Mario World is just kind of like the pinnacle of that like 2D type that they were doing, and I've gone back and I've played it, and it's good and I like it, but like I don't have that nostalgia for it. It didn't, I wasn't a part of like you know, that phenomenon when it came out, when it was big, and to this day I've never beaten it. I've played
Oh.
I've played a whole bunch of it. I love Mario, but yeah, never beat World.
Next visit. We're not going through Mega Man 2 again.
I welcome it.
I see. I had the friend that he was the one like I had talked about before that like got Street Fighter 2 when it came out with like the arcade sticks. He was had Super Nintendo, so that's where I would play Mario and like eventually he let me borrow it sometimes. So that's how I played like Final Fantasy 2. He let me borrow the system of the game so I could play it because I was like I would let him. Oh, here you play Phantasy Star 2, or whatever. We would take some turns. I bought a Super Nintendo. Well, I think like after I graduated, because I was working, and they were pretty inexpensive at that point in time. So I remember I bought one, and a few come with. It was like the bundle with Super Mario World and then Super Mario All Stars. So that's I remember going and playing all that, and then got a 64 on launch, and just Super Mario 64. I didn't any of the other launch games, but
You didn't get Pilot Wings? Come on.
yeah, it was a while. Like I didn't get Pilot Wings, and then there was a while before any other games even came out on that thing.
Yeah. I think it was I went to like a friend's house who had it, and like all she had was I mean, she had Mario, and I think the only other thing she had was Wave Race, because I remember Wave Race
It's a
64
pretty early one, yeah.
being like one of the ones that I would always just it was either I think we always just played like Mario Kart because she really liked it, but the one that was always sitting next to it was Wave Race. I'm like, can we try that? And I think we played it like twice, and I'm like, yeah, let's go back to Mario Kart.
I think Blast Corps was probably the second game I got, which was really kind of weird. But,
I remember my
yeah.
brother really liking that game. I remember I remember the artwork on the cart very well.
yeah, it was an interesting game. I don't think I ever beat it. I played it quite a bit, but it was nothing quite like it again. But it's all right. We're getting on tangents though.
Yeah,
That's perfect. You guys started bringing up some 3D Marios, so we've talked about most of the important 2D ones now. So other than 64, what are some of the important 3D Marios for you guys?
Not Sunshine.
Like Bill. That's the correct answer.
Yeah. So I know you guys are in the anti-sunshine camp. It's not like I'm like a huge, like believer in sunshine and I'm gonna fight for it and tell you no, you're wrong. I mean, it's one of these games that I did not play when it first came out. A little while later, and I had a GameCube, and I'm like, whatever, let me give this a try. And if I remember correctly, I had to try like a few times to get into it. I was like, this is weird. I'm shooting water. I don't understand. But then like I kind of like stuck with it for a while, and
Your first instinct was correct.
so I ended up sticking with it, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And like it I don't remember what happened, but like just at some point it clicked, and I'm like, okay, I understand the way they want me to play this game, and I beat the whole thing. And I remember enjoying it. I remember not thinking it was like groundbreaking or earth changing or anything like that, but I was like, okay, yeah, that was fun, and I enjoyed my time with it, and then it's over. And I never had this urge to like go back and play it, but I just remember, oh, when I played that game, I liked it that one time, so it's not really like I'm like a defender of it, but like I just remember enjoying it that one time that I played through it. But so that being said, when I think of like my favorite 3D Mario games, the first, I mean, as amazing as Odyssey is, and it's probably the right answer, the one that had the biggest impact on me of all the 3D ones was without a doubt Galaxy 1. So I remember when Galaxy came out on the Wii, I was knee deep in achievement hunting. I just kind of was going through this phase where I was just chasing achievements, and at first it was like this really cool way to play games in a different way than I had been playing them. I remember there, some achievements were dumb, like do this 100 times, and I'm like, well, this is stupid. But I remember some really really cool Half-Life ones where it was like, okay, beat Ravenholm only using the gravity gun, and I'm like, that's so cool because you can't just like run through guns ablazing. Like you have to like look around and be like, okay, there's a buzzsaw. I'm gonna pick that up, and there's four guys. Let me line them up and get them with this one buzzsaw shot. Now I can move through. So it actually like made me think differently, and I had to move through the game, and like that's kind of why I started going after these like weird kind of funky achievements. But I'm telling you, I would just like then I would start going on 360 achievements and just look at games that had, like by the achievement list, and it didn't last too long, but like for a while that's what I was doing. And I remember Galaxy came out and I heard some really good things about it, so bought it, and came home and I threw it in the Wii, and like right away, like from the very first kind of boot up of it, with I mean the controls are just they're a pleasure. It's with the nunchuck and the Wii remote. I remember just like and to this day I remember the first time you use the Wii remote and you're thinking, there's no way this is going to work. There's no way this is going to be like, good enough to control a game. And it absolutely is. And, it's just crazy that you can bowl with it and do these things. So I remember just pointing at the screen, like collecting stars and, shaking and doing your like the spin attacks and like just jumping from the planetoids. I remember like this like big orchestral soundtrack. I remember, like that kind of hub world where you're like moving around, and like I remember being invested in like why I'm going here and why I have to do this, and just the way that the gameplay loops were set up where you really are kind of like you're manipulating gravity a little bit, and you kind of it's not just jumping from one thing to another. You would kind of go from one and you had to like almost like steal gravity from another body, but then go over here to get this puzzle. And I just remember it snapping me out of this state I was in gaming where I was just kind of chasing, the high, or chasing the, those achievement points. Like I wasn't playing for fun. And Galaxy is what brought me back to playing a game, because the game is incredibly good and fun to play. And it kind of pulled me out of that. And I've always appreciated Galaxy for that. And Galaxy 2 is great, but like it didn't have that like that kind of like big bang moment that one had for me. So for that reason, that's why Galaxy kind of pops for me. But like you said before, Crab, Odyssey is, oh man, just a comfort food of a game where like you could just pop it up, go get a power moon or a multi moon, or like have the kids like search for like purple coins, like, oh, I found one we never found before. So that's there, you couldn't ask for anything more for in a modern 3D Mario game. But yeah, Galaxy 1 is very very special for me.
I couldn't agree more. That game is amazing. Everything you said, like that. Yeah, the hub world's really special. It's like, I think it's the only Mario game that has a story that's engaging, and it's not like a deep, like it doesn't take up a whole big chunk of the game, but it's just enough there, and the way they tell it is really interesting, and the variety in the levels is amazing, and there's very few stinkers for how many levels there are in that game. There's very few frustrating ones. Where I still love Mario 64 and I put a ton of time into that. 20% of that game is probably not that fun of stars to collect, and that's maybe like 5% in Galaxy. Like they're just really good.
Yep.
And I wasn't an achievement hunter or anything like that at the time, but I remember my son was really really young, and going through it to get the green stars. They make like a little kind of sound when you get near them. So he wouldn't even like watch the game. He would stand next to the TV listening for green stars, and he would get so excited when we heard one, and then we'd try and find out where it was, and it was special for me that way too. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was a really cool game. Yeah, and like you said too, amazing. And if you just want amazing levels and platforming, and you want to cut out the hub and the story and all that stuff, like that's the game for you. I kind of hold them both equally, because it just depends what kind of mood I'm in for that day. If I just want straight platforming, or if I want the whole atmosphere, I'll go Galaxy 1. But if I just want, just right to the levels, I'll go to Galaxy 2. Both very good. But I don't think you've played nearly as many 3D Marios, Chris. Is that right?
Yeah, the 3D. I played 64, and played all the way through it because that's the game I had. That was the game for quite a while. But yeah, once they kind of lost me. I bought Sunshine on the GameCube, and I don't think I beat it. I played pretty far, but I kind of got to the point where I'm like, I'm good. And from there, it was more of the kids enjoyed the 3D Mario game, so I played a little of Galaxy with Skylar when she was younger, more of like, I'll be the second player, and I'll be the one that collects the little gems, or shoots them, and like I've literally never played Odyssey myself. I've helped in like the 2-player mode a little bit, but the girls have played that, and I've helped them a little bit with 3D World. I played some new Super Mario Brothers, like New Super Mario Wii, and I still enjoy some of the 2D. But I'll be honest, the 3D Mario's, I could take or leave it.
So you did order the 3D All-Stars collection, is that
Yep.
right? Is that mainly for your kids?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Maddie, they had seen Super Mario 64 like in some YouTube videos. So I was like, I told her, like, we have that. Do you want me to go get it so you can try it? She's like, yeah, sure. So, I got it out and I hooked it up and everything. And she played a few levels. But, the control being kind of weird and everything, she just didn't stick with it. And I just know getting it on the Switch, they'll play it. And they'll both have fun. And that's what they like to do. I've already got the games. I could drag them out again, but I just know they'll play on the Switch. So, it's for them. I don't really have any intention of playing them.
And you haven't tried the Mario Maker games, have you?
No, we've got Mario Maker 2. Oh, no, we have both. We got the first one for the 3DS for the girls, and then the second one, of course, for the Switch. But I haven't played them, no, because I just watch them, and all they do is like speedrun levels. They're like, it's another speedrun level, which is just hold down the B button and run right. That's all you have to do.
I wouldn't suggest you go play like created levels. Like they both come packed in with like 100 or so stages that Nintendo's built. The first one might have less than 100. I think the second one had 100. Play those. They're really fun. They're really neat ideas, and they're really throwbacks to classic games, and I think you'd get some joy out of those ones.
I probably would. I just I don't know what it is about 3D Mario. A lot of those, like once platformers went 3D, I just kind of lost interest in platformers. I'm like, I'm good. I'll play something else.
They're very different beasts. I could totally see that.
Not a lot of appeal for me.
64 hit really hard for me. Sunshine did not. Both the Galaxies definitely did. The 3D Land and 3D Worlds, not as much. I don't really have strong feelings for those ones. But then Odyssey like totally brought it back for me. I cannot wait for the next Mario game again because I had so much fun with that game. And it kind of... I've always been kind of down on like open world games, and that is definitely not an open world game, but it borrows design ideas from open world games, and it's starting to showed me the appeal of that kind of design, and I think I can appreciate it more in other games now going forward. But it was just a totally different idea where instead of just going from 1 star, exit the level, restart the level, next star, like you could just explore this whole thing, and there was stuff everywhere to find, and like I got frustrated with that in Breath of the Wild because it was not how I wanted to play Zelda. But Mario, like I definitely want to play that way, and it was really fun to explore these little levels, and they're smaller in scale too, which I think helps how I want to play. I don't have this enormous map that takes 20 minutes to run across. It's a little 2-minute run across map that I can find stuff in, and they've just really packed it with little throwbacks and fun ideas and neat power-ups, and the stages are all really interesting and diverse, and like really weird ones for a Mario game, like the dragon boss they had, and like the New Donk City and the Bowser's Kingdom. Like there's some really weird levels that shouldn't work, but they feel really, really fun to play.
Yeah, the moon kind of thing, and
moon gravity was so fun too.
Yeah, no, the girls really love them, and every once in a while I'd get pulled in to help a little bit when things would get tougher, to give them an idea. Hey, check this out. But yeah, I just let them kind of. It's fun for me to watch them do that sort of stuff and to give them hints, and It's kind of like what Bill was talking about with the Yoshi. We don't have that one, but we've still got the Yoshi on the Wii U, and Eden still plays it all the time. And now she's trying to get like all the yarn things, unlock everything, and so that's sometimes I drop in for that and help. But they have a great time with it, and I understand. I don't. I know people that were at that right age when 3D platformers hit. It's kind of been a thing, and I get it. Like, there's a certain age of folks that are like, Ocarina of Time is the greatest thing that ever was created, and Super Mario 64, I'll play it till I'm dead. And I can see, like, okay, yeah, you were at the right time where I was at something else at the right time.
The Odyssey also, I got to play that with my son, and he was at like that Mario age that I was at when, like, between 1 and 3. And so we co-op that one, which you've always been able to co-op Mario, but it's always been like take turns. You're Mario, then you're Luigi, then you're Mario. So being able to play it together at the same time was really cool. And he loved being Cappy. So I think like 75% of the game, he just wanted to be Cappy. And the game's pretty easy when you have a second player controlling the cap. So it wasn't hard. And then I went through it after on my own and did a 100% run, which I don't recommend. You can do a 75% run and be very, very happy with your run in that game. I got really great moments with Galaxy and with my son. Even though I probably spent more time playing 64 than any other 3D Mario, because like you said, that was all you had for years and years, and it was so good. And then when the DS remake came out, my girlfriend at the time bought me a DS and that for Christmas one year, and I ended up playing quite a bit of that. And I don't hate it. It's got some weird stuff added to it, but it's kind of fun and goofy.
Yeah, I never played the DS port, but I heard it was interesting. So
it was one of those ones that they hadn't quite figured out controls on the DS in general yet, and so there's some.
Did it use that thumb nub, right? That thumb nub.
You can use.
Yeah, like that was the one thing that came in the package. There, everybody went like, "What?
Yeah.
What is this?"
It's like someone looked at like the mouse nub on like IBM ThinkPads and was like, we need to add this in our video gaming life. Like, no, you don't. And I remember. Yeah. Oh man, what was it? Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, because like all I wanted was like a second analog stick for to move the camera. And then what was that add-on? There was like a thing you could drop on with that second stick, and it was like I considered getting it just for that game, and I'm like, you know what? I can't. Like,
Frankenstick,
I can't,
right?
Yeah, I can't like justify this add-on. And then here we are years later, Dream Drop has been, ported to consoles. So now like you can, have your camera movement. But yeah, I actually forgot about the Mario 64 DS port.
I played quite a bit of that one too. That's all you had around the first year of the DS. I was playing a lot of Polarium and a lot of Mario DS.
Was Ocarina early on in the DS life, or that wasn't until later?
That's 3DS.
3DS.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of. 3DS. Yeah. Regular DS. I think all I played for the first little while on DS was Castlevania games.
Yeah, I played a lot of Mr. Drill Spirits as well. Yeah. So I think Bill might have answered this already, but do you have a definitive, like, this is my 2D Mario game? Is it 3?
It's so hard. It's really, I go back and forth between 3 and World. I mean, it's so hard because they both do certain things so well, like that cape mechanic, and is so fun to fly Mario. And if you're really good at it, you can gain height. So that's the superior flying than 3. But some of just the weird and wacky stuff that 3 came up with at first, like I'd say level design, it's 3. Mechanics, it's World.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you there. I used to always be a World over 3 guy, but I'm kind of leaning the other way lately because I just like the diversity of the levels. I like where they take an idea like sand, water, pipes, whatever.
I like
it is,
the sky level,
play around
right,
with
where
it.
you go from the ground up the tower, and then you can see the other level down there that you came from.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they just like here's 10 levels that just experiment with ideas related to that, and I don't think World does that as well. It seems more like they repeat the same ideas over and over again in that one.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
here a little harder now, here a little harder now, except for the Star Road stuff, which
and the Forest of Illusion's pretty interesting too, I think, compared to the others, because you're always looking for keys and different ways to beat levels than you normally would.
But it introduced a lot of new things as well, like the key that you have to get in the door to unlock it, and the
They
colored
did
blocks,
secrets
and
the best in that game. Like you said, the Star World, the keys, the exclamation blocks, the secret house. Like there's lots of cool stuff.
And the Bowser fight
ghost houses.
the Bowser bit in World is a million times better than the Bowser fight in 3. The Bowser fight in 3 is kind of like pathetic, honestly.
The Bowser fight in World is probably the best Bowser fight in at least a 2D game for sure.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, just depends on what you're looking for. And the other games have been good enough. Like new Super Mario Brothers to me has always been like, okay, it's not bad, but it's never been like World level.
It's not on the level, yeah.
It's just always been hey, you guys kind of still want some 2D levels, right? Okay, fine, we'll give you a few.
Yeah. The thing I like about those ones is the gold coins, where it gives me a reason to go back and play the stage again and kind of explore it a little bit and try and find the little secret coins hidden in every level.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. Like they don't quite hit like the old 2D ones.
No, they didn't get the attention.
Enough.
They did. It was kind of like, this is kind of old, and maybe some people want this. People really want 3D, but we'll still make some of this. It just didn't get the attention it deserved.
Yeah, I really dislike the wall like sliding and jumping mechanics in those games. I think they are not fun.
I liked the new Super Mario on the Wii though, because did the things like here's the platforms and tilt your controller to. I mean,
Sure.
it did some fun things with that.
I like the propeller hat. And I like the mini mushroom. Like there's some cool power ups. The penguin's actually pretty fun to like belly slide down a bunch of levels. And,
I remember just being really, really, really frustrated the first time I played it with another person that that there's physics off each other, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I get this. And so working with someone who has that, ability to discern, okay, this is a potential danger situation, so let me try to avoid it, or let me just be funny haha guy and be a jerk and kill my friend. Okay, great. Now we've all had that laugh. We can continue playing. I just remember just like constant, and then God forbid if you have like 2 more friends come over and there's 4 people playing this 2D Mario game where everyone's trying to jump over the same chasm. Oh, great. 3 of us are dead now. And so, yeah, like to me.
Or somebody ate all the power-ups and three of us didn't get a mushroom.
It's funny.
My brother.
Go ahead.
My brother and I played a bit of that. I think it was the Wii one together. The auto-scrolling levels. With the 2 of us, we would like make a point of like throwing the other guy off the stage any chance we got and trying to be the only one left to finish it. So it would take us like 2 hours to finish one auto-scrolling stage because we just made them impossible for each other to get through.
I hear that. See, Eden has figured some of the stuff out, though, right? I mean, she's very young, but she's figured out, like, for some of the newer 3D, like 3D World, I'll just bring in the second controller, and I won't play it because I can bubble the second person, and then if I need someone else, I'll pop it and do whatever. So, like, I was watching her do a level, and there's the star or whatever she has to get, and it's like. It's supposed to be like a hard jump where you're supposed to like jump and then like jump like off the wall and back around. So she just pops up, picks the other character up, throws him into the star and just keeps going. Like just, here's your sacrificial lamb. Give me the star. Okay, let's keep going.
That's funny. My daughter does that in Yoshi's Crafted World. When there's something, she's like, I'm too scared. Turn into an egg. Yep. Like dies on purpose and then floats around. And she's like, okay, now I can come out.
Same thing with Woolly World. It says, the girls will do that all the time, or use 2 controllers to, or like in Woolly World. I don't know about in the Crafted World, but in Yoshi's Woolly World, if you have a amiibo, you put it on there, and it will make a second Yoshi that can help you. So she does that a lot too.
Oh yeah.
So kind of tangential, but yeah, that's kind of weird that Yoshi's like kind of went its own way, right? Ever since like the N64 has kind of carved its own path. Very similar, though.
Even Yoshi's Island on the Super Nintendo, like they're still pretty much the same design where you got to get the coins and the flowers and stuff. They just made them a lot easier. That one was pretty unforgiving.
Yeah, it was not a kids game, but they've kind of made that like we're gonna make this almost like the kids Mario, right? Like little kids can play this, and the levels are a little more exploration based too. Like collect all this stuff, and you can like play the level again backwards and find some other cool things. And there's like tons of like helper items and things for them. So yeah, it's kind of funny but they're so Mario like,
Yes,
but they obviously have their own spin on it. So I think it's good. That's why it's like Eden being the younger one. She gravitates to that a little bit more, I think, because it's not quite as challenging.
Sure, they're really charming looking too. Like they just look really fun.
Yeah, but I don't think you can separate Yoshi from Mario. It's kind of they're still too intertwined together.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Even the bad guys, like you see Shy Guys in both, and K-Mix in both, and Bowser Jr.'s in both. Like, yeah, they share a lot.
Yeah, but you just don't really see Mario in any of the Yoshi games anymore.
Not anymore, no. Just the DS one and the Super Nintendo one, I think. Yeah, and they kind of ditched them.
Yeah, it's kind of like just like Mario went, forget about it. I won't check on him anymore. Except, well, I mean, Sunshine had Yoshis, right? If I remember right.
They're bad Yoshis though.
but it's Yoshi.
Yoshis. Yeah, it's true. So there's a bazillion Mario spin-offs as well. Like, and I'm not exaggerating, literal bazillion. What's your guys' experience with those, and do you have any favorites?
Fairly limited. So for me, we have a little experience with Mario Party. Never got into it. Like back when it was kind of new, but then like, the Switch one, whatever number Mario Party it is, we got it for the boys for Christmas, and, play it a little bit, and they're into it. And it's kind of nice that, there's something that we can sit down, like the whole family, can play together, and, we can be teams or kind of be like, like one-on-one type deal. I mean, yeah, and everyone's played a little bit of Mario Kart, like for me, like Mario Kart's fun, but I never moved past because like Mario Kart's one of those games where you just hand someone a controller, that's the gas, that's the brake, that's the button you press to do an item, go, and anyone can play it, and then you get like a little bit better at it. And then there's like the next level you got to move to where like you understand drifting and how the turns work and how you need to like build up momentum and how you can do these extra things. And for me, like I never made it that extra push, so I can just play it, just pick it up and kind of half be paying attention and have some fun in Mario Kart. But if it gets, if the CCs get too high or if like the competition gets too, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm walking away from Mario Kart now. None of the we don't have huge experience with a lot of the Mario spin-offs. I don't know if you consider Mike Tyson's Punch-Out a Mario spin-off. He has a starring role in most levels in that game. And then probably Mario RPG is the one that I've played the most. And it's not just like, a thing that Mario happens to be in like Tyson. It's like, here's like a Mario RPG, made by a company that makes really good RPGs. For me, it's not the character Mario that I love, it's the Mario games that I love. I love Mario, Super Mario Brothers rather. I love Super Mario Brothers 3. Even though Mario Brothers 2 is kind of like a different animal and a different, like a kind of thing, like I played that a lot when I was a kid,
and nobody picks Mario in that game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's Luigi Brothers 2 for me.
Yeah.
So or Toad if you want to pick things fast, or Princess if my wife is playing. So and I love like Mario Odyssey and I love Mario Galaxy and like so, but it's like and it's like, yeah, Mario's in all those, but it's like if the game was the same thing with like another character in it, I would still love it because the game's really good. So for me, it's not like, oh, this game has Mario in it, I must play it. Like, ooh, Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, I must play it. It's like, no, I don't want to play, that game. So for me, it's more about the game than the character. Probably Mario RPG is the Mario spin-off I've put the most time into. But I would think a lot of people would kind of lean towards Kart as a big one, and Party maybe.
Yeah, for me, it would. I've played quite a few of them. Some are pretty terrible. I mean, there's Mario's time. I promised to bring up Mario's Time Machine and Hotel Mario, so those are things that exist. I think Mario teaches typing is a thing that you could also do.
Yeah.
And I forgot, would you consider Paper a spin-off?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
anything that's not like a Mario, like here's Mario 1, 2, or like a mainline Mario game.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have as much experience with Paper either, but it just kind of slipped my mind there and just thought of it.
Well, and there's
I kind of put them in the same vein as like Mario RPG.
And then there's the Mario and Luigi games that have been mostly on like the DS and the 3DS, like Inside Story and some of those.
GBA as well.
Yeah. There's so many spin-offs. But I mean, if I had to talk about ones that I've played the most, it was definitely Mario Party. I mean, like when the first Mario Party came out, oh my, sore hands like crazy.
Yeah.
Like
played with like at parties or like college, or what time frame we talking about?
Well, see, that was so it was probably what early mid-20s. So it was me, my girlfriend at the time, and some of our friends, and we just break out the 4 controllers and do the circle thing with your palm like crazy. And like my girlfriend's sister would come over, and so we just played a lot of Mario Party. It was like very new kind of idea at the time, and we played a lot of Mario Party. And I've played Mario Party with the kids and some of that. I mean, I played Kart, of course, some of the Mario Kart games, but racing games like that are not really my thing. I'm not into kart racers, so although I've played them, I wouldn't say they excite me all that much. So I mean, for me, far and away, it's party games, which I think is fantastic. It's really kind of created its own little genre of stuff.
Yeah,
because do you have a favorite mainline party release that you would say is worth going back and revisiting, even with the newer ones that are out?
For me, I would never suggest to any human being that values their hand that they play Mario Party 1, because that was all like these spinning games with the stick, and then they realized after that, people are destroying controllers in their hands by doing this. So like the later Mario Parties on 64, so I'd say pick like Mario Party 2 or Mario Party 3 on N64, good games, not going to destroy your hands or the controllers. So pick up Mario Party 3 on the N64 or something, have fun. Or the newer ones are the newer ones seem to me like, oh, hey, here's more Mario Party. They don't really spend a lot of time investing in them. They're just kind of like, it's still fun. Okay. They don't do anything new.
I feel the same way. We bought Super Mario Party just expecting it to be like a fun family game, and we've really only played it 4 or 5 times, did all the maps once, and we're like, the games aren't as fun. The Wii one we played a lot. I think it was just some novelty to the shaking the controller and having the pointer and stuff for some of the mini games. But the first one hit us hard too, where I remember sneaking it on a school trip. We were going down to Vancouver to play an orchestra competition. I was in the school band, and we weren't supposed to bring it, but we snuck it into the hotel. We stayed up till 6 a.m. playing Mario Party when we had to perform at 7 a.m. that morning. And we got in so much crap because they came to figure out why we were so tired, and they figured it out.
Was that first Mario Party?
That was the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
one, yeah. And like you were saying, besides the controllers, like we kept wrecking our hands.
Uh-huh.
We had blisters, and like one friend, his hand slipped, and he like tore the skin from his like palm up his forearm.
Oh.
So we started stealing our parents' rubber gloves under the kitchen sink to use because you get a better grip on them and it protect your hands. And I remember our moms getting mad at us because they kept running out of rubber gloves and they couldn't figure out why.
But yeah, to play those games, like that was it. You had to there just grind as fast as you could, and you just get this huge blister.
There was that stupid one. You didn't even have to go into the game. There was just like a shy guy who would like you'd wind him up by spinning the control stick, and it would tell you like you wind him up 30 times or whatever, and we would just phone each other like I did 31 today. I got to 33, and then that was like the number to beat for the next like 2 weeks.
I totally forgot about it until you guys just started kind of talking about different mini games and stuff. But I think it was on the Wii, the WarioWare mini game game. I forget the full name of it, but it was
Smooth
like that.
Moves.
Smooth Moves maybe with the pink cover.
Yep.
That I think I see in my head. Oh man, I remember like let's get this. It's just like full of a bunch of Wii mini games.
Was that the one with pick your nose?
It was so weird.
Yeah.
It was so weird, and like it was so fast and frantic. It was almost like a Japanese game show. Just everything was real quick, and it was like big 2D art, and that was one of those things where like I was never really in Mario Party, but then this game was like, okay, well it's a bunch of mini games, and maybe like Sarah will be into it, and maybe like people will come over to the house and it'll be great. And I don't remember how many times we fired it up, but like just like a handful of times, I'm like, man, I think this is why we don't just play games that are just made up of weird mini games.
How about? I was gonna say, how about you, Kelsey? What's the spinoff that sticks out?
I think I've played much more of them than you guys, it sounds like, because I've went through most of the Paper Marios, did RPG. I've played all the like sports ones, including Sonic at the Olympics.
Did you play the DDR one?
I have, yeah. A little bit of that. I have a complete and box one in my game room.
Okay. Did you learn to type with Mario?
No, I do have that in my game room too, but I picked that up in the last few years, not when I was a kid. I'm trying to think, because like Mario Kart played a ton of, got some really great memories with, especially 64, the Wii one, and Mario Kart 8, all fantastic. Like Bill, I put a lot of time into Mario RPG. The Paper Marios are pretty good, the first three anyway, and they start kind of dropping in quality after that. I think Mario Golf might be my favorite spin-off though. And the GameCube one in particular, there was like a contest when it came out where you put this code into the password selection and it would auto load up a stage for you that would always have the same like wind conditions and rain and stuff like that. And then once you beat the course, so you couldn't reset or like reload up a ball like you could on a normal mode, and it would give you another code and you'd enter that into the Nintendo website, and then they'd rank you against everybody else. And so you had like a month to practice and get in there. And I think I got top 20 on that. And I had like a minus 22 or something average, like after that was done. They did the RF Generation contest a couple of years ago. They did a bunch of golf games, and that was one of them. And so good. I've played a bunch of the like actual golf games, like the Tiger Woods and things. I don't think they're as good as Mario Golf either. I know they're going for realism and going for something different. They're just not as enjoyable. I don't like that sim aspect to them.
Nobody brought up Paint.
No, the only thing I did in Paint was slap flies. Like I don't have that creative part of me that wants to make songs and levels and things. So Mario Maker didn't hit me as hard either.
I would just do other songs, like Enter Sandman or whatever in Mario Paint
with only cat noises.
Yeah. Or no, you bring up a good point with Mario Maker. My kids, we never played any Mario Maker except 2. On the Switch, and my kids are really into it. And like you mentioned before, Kelsey, we started off with just the like the pre-made levels, like the ones that you go in and you do, and it's got like a very, very basic story to it that like, you're like rebuilding the castle as you're like going through and doing all these things and redoing the construction. And it's like, okay, like we got another job. You got to just do 3 more levels. You do 3 more levels, and then like you build, like the room back. And so you could go into like the story mode or the, create mode, and you go into create, and there's this like weird little tutorial that and I know you can't have everything, but like the tricky part is when my kids started playing it, they weren't reading yet, and there's no voice in any of these tutorials. It's all like written, and there's a lot of humor in it, but it's like written in a way that's like, like it's being delivered in this weird like comedically timed thing, and like I'm like trying to translate it for the kids, and I'm like, it's just falling flat, and like they're like, Dad, I don't get it, and I'm like, it's just a bad joke, like don't worry about it. And they're like, like try to think of like, like an overall theme of like what you want your level to feel like and look like. And I'm like, dude, like you're not talking to college kids. Like, you're just trying to like tell my kids like, how do you put a block there on the thing? So we tried to go through the tutorials and just like couldn't do it. So my kids didn't do the build a level stuff for like ever. And then they actually learned by watching YouTube. It was a lot easier to watch someone just be like, go to this tool and then grab this thing and then put this here, and that's how this does this. And they'll just mess around in creative mode, not even like making a level really, just like makes funny sounds. And I love how the music and the sound effects like follow what you're doing. So there'll be like a song going on, and like you'll like pull like a piece of land over, and it's like and it just gives you like something going on besides like what you're controlling. And they think it's hilarious to make a level that's completely impossible. Like they'll get in there and they'll put like 97 bullet bills like flying at you, not Boomer Bill that they're trying to rename it to now, and
Okay, Boomer.
like fireballs falling everywhere, and just like like you go into like a pipe and like it lets you out into an abyss. Like just they think it's the funniest thing in the world, so they'll build a level. They'll be, Daddy, come beat my level. And I'm like, all right, like here we go, like let's get ready. And then like you start the level, and you just see like the mountain of crap that's about to like destroy you. And I'm like, guys, like you need to make a level that's actually possible to beat. So I tell them, just like the game tells them, it's like you can't upload a level unless you can beat it. So I was like, once you guys finish the level, like then I'll play. And that's the one piece of advice I had to give them. So now they make a level that's simple and straightforward, and then they finish it, and then they add pieces to it. And I'm like, there you go. So like start with the concept, and like so it's here and it ends here, and like now add things in between. But yeah, Mario, for a game that I never played like anything of, the kids have kind of found like new, different, kind of avenues to approach that game, whether it's the story or whether it's like the creative aspect. But it's just not part of my DNA to sit down, whether it be Minecraft, something where you just have like a blank canvas where it's like, okay, go create something in this world. It's just not part of my DNA, either like something that I want to do or that I'm good at doing. So I've never really approached that, but it's so cool to see what they come up with in those kind of situations.
I had a really fun like 3 or 4 months, same idea with when the first Mario Maker came out, where I just come home from work or whatever I was doing, and my son would be like, just a big grin on his face and open door. He's like, come play my level. And he would do something similar, but he'd like ease me into it, and it's like, okay, I'm regular old Mario level, nothing's fine, and then it's like 97 Bowsers like fall from the sky. But I remember like one time, like he's like, I can't beat this level, but I think it's beatable. I need you to beat this level. And it was like 4 hours of playing this like 40-second level until I finally got through it, because there's fire sticks and bullet bills. And it was just insane, but it was so much fun, and it felt so good. And like we both felt amazing when I beat it, because he's like, hey, you did it. Like you beat my level. Yeah. Like this level I spent so much time on it.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Really fun game.
The thing that strikes me about this is like my kids, they play like Mario Maker and all this stuff, and most of the time it's like these goofy levels or whatever that they like. But I tell them, like, hey, on the Switch Online thing that's here, you can play like World and some of these things. You could go back and play these old ones. And they're like, nah, that's okay.
Right.
I'm like, but it's like the same stuff you're doing.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, they're not interested. Don't care.
It is funny because, and there's other times where, like, because before, like, years before you had kids, I remember just thinking like, oh, I can't wait to show my kids, like DuckTales or Gargoyles or just any of these, like, cartoons that you like, and then, like, they get to a point where they start to watch cartoons a little bit, and you're like, oh, like, is it time? And then you like try to show them like one episode, and you're like, no, it's not time yet, it's not time, pull it back. And like I keep thinking, okay, like, is it ready? And then like so I'm trying to like plant the seed for Batman. I'm like, Callahan, there's Batman the animated series, huh? And he's like, oh yeah, we have one of those books. So like I put on like that first episode, and I'm thinking like, is it time? No, it's not time yet. Like they're not interested, like. And it's weird because like it's getting to the point where I'm like, I just don't know if they're going to be into this because it's so different now. And like, it's the same thing. Like, I forget if I have a terrible memory in my old age, and I'm sorry, but if it was one of you who said this or if I heard it somewhere else, but I remember, like someone was telling a story about it was their kids were like, really into Minecraft. And they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna get them like the Lego, one of the Lego games. Doesn't matter what, Lego Star Wars, Lego Undercover City, whatever it is. Oh, here's Lego. Like you're gonna love this." And like 10 minutes into it, the kid's like, I can't build anything. Like I can't like do what I want." And they're like, "Oh yeah, like but it's a level. You just gotta move through it." Like, no, sorry. Like I want to do what I want to do. I want to build. I want to like be my own boss. And it's just I know it's a weird tangent to be on, but like I think about the things that I thought were cool that I couldn't wait to show my kids, and like it is just not the same. They don't have that same, feeling for things that I did.
I personally think that old Batman animated series holds up, but like if you think of every other cartoon you watched when you're a kid, cartoons are so much better now.
Yeah.
It's hard to go back to them even as yourself with nostalgia for them for most of them.
I've been getting inundated with Steven Universe lately, and I will tell you, I don't think they're better. They're just different.
Not all of them.
They're different.
And also not to get onto the the track of like how they're designed and like the psychology involved and to keep them watching and all that kind of stuff, but like they watch and they love Adventure Time, and when you watch Adventure Time, it's like it's really cool, it's interesting, but like it is like nonstop, and then like there's some silly, and then there's some some funny, and then some touching, and then that's the wrong word, something that's like really heartfelt, like a friendship moment between like a young boy and a young girl, and like it's so much, and it's like one thing after the other. And then you show them like an old episode of Gargoyles or an old episode of X-Men or an old episode of DuckTales, and it's just a very slow point A to point B, one long story with like a weird like payoff, like, oh, the moral of the story is don't be late for school. And like they just don't, like, they don't have the attention span, they don't care, it's not interesting. So like I think it's they've been introduced to this new style of storytelling, and it's hard to go back to what was happening 40 years ago.
One of my favorite moments ever with my daughter was, I remember we had this like super long day. I was like, normally I'm always in a really positive mood. It was one of those really rare moments where I was feeling really crummy at the end of the day and down, and I don't know if that was rubbing off on her or what. We got home at like 10 o'clock, which she's normally in sleep by then. I think she was 3 at the time, and she knows that I really like Batman. She doesn't care at all about Batman, but we got home at 10 o'clock, and she grabbed my hand and took me downstairs, and she's like, let's watch Batman. And she told me to put on the animated series, and we fell asleep on the couch watching it. And I don't know, she's never asked before or after to watch it, so I don't know if she's picked up that I needed something fun that night.
Wow.
It was really great.
That's so cool.
Very empathic.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So we're getting close to time here. I got to start reeling this back in.
Yeah.
So is there any other
focused.
Mario memory that you want to share before we close out?
Chris and Kelsey at my house playing the first time that the second time that I met Chris. The first time I believe that I met Kelsey was in town for Retro World, and I am blessed to own a dual screen Play Choice 10, and you guys were both over, and we were hanging out in the basement, and we just got there, and there were some more people that were going to be coming. We're like, oh, we have some time. Let's play some, fire up the arcade game. So I fired up the play choice, and Chris decides he's going to play Mario 1. So I don't remember how long he was playing. We were kind of just hanging out, shooting the breeze, like looking at the big collection that's down there and just chatting it up and everything. And so eventually Chris ends up, was it stage
8-3? 8-3.
8-3.
Yes.
Yep. So it was 8-3 because it was like the castles in the background and like all like the Hammer Bros and some Koopa Troopas. And so he gets to a point in this stage where he jumps on a Koopa Troopa and kicks it forward, and he's running behind it. And
yes.
it's killing like everything.
Like it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's killing everything that it's supposed to. And just one thing, and he's right behind it. It's like don't he's just killing one guy after the other, and then the shell glitches through the Hammer Bro like I've never seen happen before, and Chris runs face first into this enemy like someone who's never played Mario Brothers before. And I just remember the look on Chris's face. It dies, and he just mouth drops open, looks at both of us, and was like, "Did you see that?"
I remember that very clearly. Yes,
one of my favorite Mario memories.
Yeah, because I was like, "Oh, this is so robbed." I'm like, I'm gonna clear through this. Like, let's just blast through the game real quick, right? It's like, I'm gonna breeze through this. I can still clear Mario 1, no problem today. But yeah, no, robbed. Yes, I remember that very clearly.
That was a lot of fun.
Literally, he's not joking. The shell went literally right through the Hammer Brothers.
There were witnesses.
We both saw it, yeah. And I remember just looking and just laughing and just thinking, has that ever happened to you guys on the console? Is this like an arcade bug? Or
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a fun one.
Yeah. For me, I guess I'd probably have to go back to that time with my cousin when he had the NES, and that was the first time I'd ever seen one or played one or anything else. And we would just play and play and play and until we could beat it. And he beat it before I did because it was his. But it wasn't much longer after that that I got to beat it as well, because he would leave it over at my house sometimes and let me play for a little while until I could beat it. So learning that and learning about the Nintendo and everything with my cousin that summer was it was just a lot of fun. So it's good memories. We were of an age where we were still goofy and kid-like, and having sleepovers and doing that sort of stuff, even though we're kind of at the end of that age. And it was just a really fun summer.
Nice. I kind of got a similar one too. I had a cousin who's about 7 or 8 years older than me, and they lived out on a farm, and there's not a lot to do there, so his parents would buy him a lot of cool toys. So when we go over there, he'd have the Nintendo and the huge stack of games, all the Nintendo powers. He had a power glove. He had all this stuff I'd never seen. All I had was Nintendo, Duck Hunt, Super Mario for a long time. So he saw me playing Super Mario, and he's like, "You want to see some cool stuff?" I was like, "Sure." And so he pulls out the power glove, which I'd never seen before, and he beat the first couple stages with his hand. Wow, that's amazing. And then he started showing me stuff you can get firepower when you're small if you do this trick. And did you know this warp was here? And there's a coin world here. And it was just blowing my mind that all the stuff was in this game I had played for hours and hours and hours and hours and just was not aware of it. And it was just this really cool, eye-opening experience that he shared with me that one summer.
I remember my cousin showing me about the Minus World, and we just kept we're like, surely you can beat this, right? Surely if you go through it fast enough, long enough, there's probably, it's barely enough time. I'm sure if you're perfect, you can be, and of course, no, but we believed it, right? We were like, oh man, we're going to be, we played it so many stupid times.
Yeah. I'm I don't know, happy that we all our like memory that came to mind was from Super Mario Brothers, like the NES one. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and
Well, not like we shared a lot of others throughout the rest of the show too, but just those ones stuck out.
and dang it, if you guys have ever played Versus Super Mario Brothers, dang that game. That's all I'll say, man. I didn't know it at the time, but it's got like Lost Levels worlds in it, and you didn't know that as that person, but you're plunking your quarters into a Versus machine, and all of a sudden you're like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Those levels are mean, angry levels.
Yeah, I've still never beaten real Super Mario Brothers 2. Got it, played it on the disc system a bit, but haven't beat it.
I beat the Lost Levels version twice. Once with my brother when we were younger, and once on my own years and years later. It's not a great game. It's not a lot of fun. It's pretty frustrating.
It's, painful is a good way to put it.
Very much. Intentionally painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thanks for chatting with me about Mario today, guys. It was a great deal of fun for me and brought a lot of good memories back.
Oh,
Absolutely.
So,
pleasure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Hope you guys
Mario's always
had a
fun.
good time. Yeah, always fun. And I know you're not big into the 3D ones still, but I still very much look forward to the next Mario announcement. I hope there's another one on the Switch, but if not, whatever comes after the Switch, I'll be looking forward to that one.
Switch you got it.
Yeah, perfect. Be Switch VR, and they'll just put the Switch dock in front of your face.
Switch Labo.
Yeah. So, listeners, please throw up some comments after with some of your favorite Mario moments and games, and I'd like to hear some of those too. And I've got more to share, so we'll hopefully chat a little bit on Twitter or something after this. So, we'll see you guys next time.